My name is Victoria Winters. Even daylight cannot dispel the dark suspicions that constantly hover over Collinwood and over all of Collinsport.
Morning, Maggie.
Hi. What do you have?
Nothing. I'm looking for Burke Devlin. The clerk said he's not up in his room.
Well, I haven't seen him. And so far, that makes my day just about perfect. I'll be just as happy if I never see him again.
Maggie, Mother told me what Burke said to you. I mean about your father and my uncle allowing him to go to prison for a crime he didn't commit.
How about that? You know, maybe I do want to see him. The more I think about it, the madder I get. I just may slip a touch of rat poison in his coffee.
Did he mean all those things he said?
He sure did.
Maggie, I don't see how your father could have been mixed up in it.
He couldn't. He sticks to himself. He never gets involved in anything.
Well, wasn't he there when Burke was making all these wild accusations?
We had an errand to do. He left. But believe me, if he had been there, Burke wouldn't have been shooting off his mouth the way he was.
Mother says Burke is simply a bitter man who'll stop at nothing to get even with the Collins family.
She also said he was capable of murder.
Maggie, Mother didn't mean that. After you left, she admitted she'd spoken without thinking.
Sometimes that's when people say the truth.
No, she said she didn't know what Burke was capable of. But she took back the part about committing murder. And then she said that all the talk about murder was nonsense. That Mr. Malloy must have fallen accidentally.
Is that what you think?
I don't know what to think.
But if it was just an accident, then why is Burke stirring up such a fuss?
Well, according to Mother, it's because he hates us poor Collinses. He says we're responsible for his going to prison 10 years ago.
10 years ago. Everything seems to have started then. 10 years ago. That's when Burke went to prison? When Roger Collins got married and left? Even my pop seemed to change then.
In what way?
I don't know. I guess he was upset about Burke going to prison. They really were good friends.
From what my mother said, they aren't anymore.
No.
But Maggie, why should they be enemies now?
I don't know.
You don't suppose there's any truth in what Burke says?
Well, if there is, then it means that my pop and your Uncle Roger both lied. Do you want to believe that?
No, I don't.
Well, either Burke lied or Pop and your Uncle Roger lied, one or the other.
It's very confusing, isn't it?
It sure is.
Good morning, ladies.
Well, speak of the devil.
Were you?
We were just talking about you.
You couldn't have chosen a more fascinating subject. What about Burke Devlin?
Well, from what he said, I gather he came to see you for a specific reason.
I don't know why he should have thought that... Well, anyhow, he should be satisfied now, and you should be, too.
Well, nobody has to satisfy me, Sam. All I'm doing is collecting information to present to the coroner.
What for?
Well, so that he can decide if there should be a further investigation.
The man slipped and fell in the water and drowned. Why does it have to be investigated?
Just to make sure that someone didn't help him slip.
Ridiculous. Bill Malloy was well liked. He was a fine man. A good friend.
Agreed. Now, let's go over your statement again, shall we?
If I've told you once, I've told you 100 times.
Well, tell me 101 times then, Sam. Now, we know that Bill fell in the water at 10:45. That's the time his watch was stopped. And you say you left your house at 10:30.
Yeah. 10:30 or so, maybe later.
Well, that's what I want to know, Sam, as close as you can, the exact time.
I said 10:30. It could have been 10:40, 10:50. I don't know.
Well, how long would it normally take you to walk from the Collins cannery to your house?
10 minutes. 5 minutes. It depends.
On what?
On whether or not I saw something along the way. Something that attracted my fancy. I'm an artist, George. Sometimes I stop and look at cloud formations. Anything.
Look, Sam, let's get one thing straight, huh? I'm not trying to trap you into admitting something you shouldn't. I'm trying to help you.
I know you are, George. You'll have to excuse me for the way I was talking. I was upset. Bill Malloy was a good friend of mine. He was a friend of everyone in Collinsport.
Yeah, except possibly one person. Well, what about Maggie? Was she home? Would she remember what time you left?
Maggie? She might.
Well, it would be a help if she did. Yes? Oh, ask Mrs. Johnson to come in, will you, please? Thank you.
Mrs. Johnson, Bill Malloy's housekeeper?
That's right.
Well, are you through with me now?
You sound relieved.
Shouldn't I be?
Ask yourself that, Sam. Not me. Well, thank you for coming in, Sarah.
Never mind that, George. I only want to know one thing from you. Who killed Mr. Malloy?
I understand you almost had dinner with Vicky Winters again.
News certainly does get around in Collinsport. You don't begrudge my eating, do you? How about you? Would you care for some?
No, thanks. I hear you were at Collinwood last night.
Having a little Blake tea.
Can't you forget about food?
I'm hungry.
That is not why you came to see Uncle Roger.
Hardly.
Well, did you get the information you came for?
Not exactly. But I did learn one thing.
What was that?
That you are possibly the only completely honest person living at Collinwood.
What does that mean?
Well, let's take them in order. There's your little cousin, David. He's not exactly George Washington.
I know, David lies all the time.
Probably gets it from his father.
Mother says she's never
Oh,
understood.
yes, your mother. This is Elizabeth Collins Stoddard. I think she believes only what she wants to believe, which is what she accused me of doing. And then there's Vicky Winters.
Vicky. What does she have to do with it? She's not a Collins.
But she lives at Collinwood. Apparently, that's enough. Some of the Ananias must have rubbed off on her, too.
Some of what?
Ananias. If you read your Bible, you know he was the first great liar. I hope what happened to him doesn't happen to her.
What did happen to her?
He was struck dead.
More coffee?
Well, thank you. I'm surprised I survived the last cup.
It was fresh out of arsenic.
Burke, I want to talk to you.
I've got to make some phone calls now.
But it's important.
Later.
I know I ought to hate him. But I don't.
I know. It's the same with me.
The autopsy report, Sarah, shows that Bill died by drowning. There were signs of blows on his head, but they were probably caused by the water against the rocks.
Probably. And you don't know for sure.
Well, all I know for sure is what the doctor told me, that Bill's death coincided with the time on his watch, and it stopped at 10:45.
It's right after I left the house.
Now, about the time. You said that Bill received a phone call at 10:30. Do you have any idea who that was from?
Not the slightest.
Well, nothing he said gave you any hint as to whether it was a man or a woman, for instance?
I'm not in the habit of eavesdropping, George.
Well, I didn't mean that.
How did you expect me to hear anything then?
I guess I didn't.
Well, it must have been a man. Mr. Malloy was shouting. You had to hear even without listening.
Shouting, was he? Well, then it must have been something he didn't like.
Or someone he didn't like. He had a temper, you know.
Sarah, do you think it could have been something that upset him so much that he went out and killed himself?
I should say not. He no more killed himself than he had an accident. Mr. Malloy wasn't the type.
Well, now, Sarah, you don't have to be any special type to have an accident.
That's your opinion. It's my opinion that accidents don't just happen to people like Mr. Malloy. And a man who's going to kill himself doesn't take the trouble to order breakfast early for the morning after he's done it.
He ordered a special breakfast?
The last thing he said to me, just before I left, was that he wanted breakfast early, half hour early.
Well, did he say why?
Just that he had a lot of things to do. Now, a man doesn't talk like that and then go out and kill himself 10 minutes later.
I'm sorry, I'm out of cups for the water. Sarah, who do you think would have wanted to kill Bill Malloy?
Oh, go up to Collinwood and ask your questions there.
I did. It could be that I didn't ask the right questions. Did you have anything specific in mind?
No, just the feeling that somehow his death was connected with the Collins family, or the boats, or the cannery. That was his whole life. The Collins family, the Collins fishing fleet, the Collins cannery. That's That's all he ever thought about.
And you resented that a little bit, I suppose.
Like I say, I had a right to. They were his whole life. I think they were his death, too.
Pop!
I want to talk to you, Maggie.
Now, before you start in, you answer me my question.
What?
I had a talk with Mr. Wells this morning.
Mr. Wells?
Oh, you know what I'm talking about. Mr. Wells, the clerk in the hotel. That Mr. Wells. You said you were in here last night trying to get that letter you had me put in the safe.
Oh. Well, it wasn't important.
It wasn't. You made me swear that I wouldn't... Well, open it unless something happened to you.
Oh.
You said it was life insurance. Well, that sounds pretty important to me. I thought we agreed to leave it where it was.
I meant my reason for asking Mr. Wells to give me that letter wasn't important. It's just that I wanted to add a postscript, that's all. Just wanted to add something.
Okay, then write another letter if you want to, and I'll put it with the one I already have, okay?
Sure. Anything you say.
Well, it's already been said. Now, what's on your mind?
Oh, I was wondering if you happen to remember the time I left the house the other night.
What other night?
The night that Bill Malloy died.
Now, Pop, you know I have enough trouble keeping track of you when you're at home, not when you leave.
Now, try to think, Maggie. Was I at home, say, at 10:45?
Who wants to know? Burke?
No, Bert doesn't want to know. Well, George Patterson was asking.
The sheriff? What does he want? Pop, what does that mean? What time did Bill Malloy die?
10:45.
You mean the sheriff thinks... Now, Pop, that's plain silly. Why should you need an alibi?
He doesn't think anything, Maggie. He was just asking. And I just wondered if you happen to know what time it was. You noticed it.
And if the sheriff wants to know, he can ask me.
All right, Maggie. I'll ask you. What time did your father leave the house?
At 10:45. I happened to check my watch. And then I called the Naval Observatory and had them send up a balloon just to make sure.
That's fine, Glenn. Now listen, you get all those papers together and be prepared to come back here at a moment's notice. Right. We can expect action soon. Well, hello. Come in. To what do I owe the honor?
I'm not sure you'll think it is such an honor.
Try me.
All right? Mother said you accused Uncle Roger of knowing something about Bill Malloy's death.
I don't think I put it just like that.
I don't care how you put it. Is that what you meant?
Well, I've had many conversations at a lot of different times. I've said a lot of different
It was
things.
at Maggie Evans' house when Vicky was there for dinner.
Oh, yes. I suppose Miss Winters ran right up to Collinwood to repeat everything verbatim.
No, she didn't. She didn't say anything about it.
Maybe I've misjudged her.
It was Maggie. She came up to Collinwood looking for Uncle Roger. He wasn't at home, so she spoke to Mother.
Yes, that's something Maggie would do.
Did you really say that Uncle Roger was involved in Mr. Malloy's death?
I may have.
But how could he have been? And why? I just don't believe it.
I wish somebody would have felt this strongly about me 10 years ago.
Does it all go back to that accident?
Yes, it does.
But that was settled when the jury convicted you.
I thought the jury was wrong. So did Bill Malloy. That's why he was killed.
He was not murdered. He slipped and fell.
There was no reason for him to slip and fall. There was a good reason for him to be killed.
Say what you like. But if anybody asks me what time my pop left the house the other night, I'll tell them 10:45.
Maggie, would you be willing to get up in a court of law and swear to that under oath?
No, she wouldn't. She doesn't really know.
Pop, how can you say that? You don't know how I check up on you all the time.
You don't have to perjure yourself for me. Besides, I don't need it. I didn't do anything I can't account for.
Then you don't know what time your father left the house.
No, she doesn't. But I do. It was 10:30. I walked around for a while. I was trying to make up my mind
About what?
about whether or not I should go to the meeting.
And then you finally decided.
Obviously, I was there.
But Malloy wasn't.
He had an accident on the way, that's all.
Look, Maggie, all I'm trying to do is collect all the facts that I can to present to the coroner.
Yes, sir. You have the facts, sir, so present them.
Don't be fresh, darling.
I'm not being fresh, Pop. I'm scared.
Well, there's nothing to be scared of, Maggie.
No? Then maybe it's not you that I'm scared of.
Burke Devlin? Well, now, don't let that worry you. He talks a lot, but I'm still the law in Collinsport. And I better get back to my job.
Now, what's it all about?
I can't tell you.
You can't or you won't.
I don't know any more about it than you do.
Well, would I know more if I read that letter you have me put in the safe?
No. No, the letter has nothing to do with it.
It must say something that would help you.
Help me? What do you mean help me, Maggie? What are you thinking could help me?
But, Pop, that's what I want to know. What sort of help you do need.
None. Only, the letter was nothing more than my last will and testament, that's all. That's why I said that it should be open if anything happened to me. It's my will, leaving you all my worldly possessions.
You said that it was life insurance for you.
That is the same thing, darling. Only I should have said it's life insurance for you.
Pop, you know that I love you, don't you?
I hope so.
And you don't mind if I don't believe you?
No, darling, I don't mind. There's no reason why you should. And there you have my version of what happened 10 years ago. Something I didn't do. Something your uncle was responsible for, but for which I went to prison.
I just can't believe it.
No one else did, obviously.
I mean, I don't believe Uncle Roger would do
You don't
such a
believe
thing.
your dear uncle would allow an innocent man to go to prison for something your dear uncle was guilty of?
I know he wouldn't. Burke, you yourself said you don't remember. You said you were drunk at the time.
My sweet Carol, have you ever been drunk enough to... No. No, of course you haven't. Well, I was drunk enough to know very little of what was going on that night. But I do remember that I was not driving the car at the time.
And you think Uncle Roger...
Yes, I think he was driving.
What would that have to do with Mr. Malloy?
Somehow he found out. He was going to expose the whole thing. That's why he was killed.
No. No, I know you're wrong, Burke. Can't you just forget all about it? Uncle Roger couldn't... He wouldn't have done anything like that.
Well, I don't say that he did it out of malice of forethought. Maybe he went to see Mr. Malloy. Maybe they argued. Maybe there was a struggle and Malloy fell in the water and drowned. I don't know. But I think your Uncle Roger knows.
All right. I'll ask him.
You do that, Carolyn. Ask him.
I wish it didn't have to be this way.
This is the way it has to be.
Stay tuned for Where the Action Is next here on ABC. Dark Shadows is a Dan Curtis production.